Okay, second set of turns for this. And starting with the red player, flip over a card. It is a convoy. Did I know that? I don't think so. Parma de la Spezia. This is a big set. Okay. There's one person with a reasonably easy shot at this, which is orange. What's his thought? Well, I have a shitty 2-pointer. I could get 4, 6, 8 as sort of a maximum. I have a 9th here that I could throw in. I don't really have. Let's see. 4, yeah. I don't have a lot of firepower here. And I don't really feel comfortable attacking this. Although, wait, I have my dudes I could throw in as well. And I have enough of them that there's a good chance that I'll get a decent number. So let's think about that. Let's look at yellow. I don't have a lot more hope here. So we're looking at the AS road. That would be a 3 walk. I can't reach it without using this. I'm not going to have enough points. So, you know, given that we're doing kind of poorly, I'm going to take a shot at this with orange. So this comes down here. And I'm going to spend this to get me to it. So partisan attack. I can play combat cards. There's my 4 cards. I'll hold these in reserve along with whatever else I want to do. Let's see how bad it is. Well, not that bad. The 5 is ugly, but a couple of zeros in there evened it out kind of nicely. So I've got a total of 7 I got to get. 4, I've got to beat it, which means this and one of these isn't enough, but 2 of these would be. On the other hand, let's take a look. If I commit, I roll, I'm guaranteed to get 1 hit with 6 partisans there. There's some danger to this, but it seems wise to me. Which do I want to use up? Threat reduction or movement? Or do I want to take a chance at a 3? I don't want to take a chance at the 3. So I'm going to go to 6. That means I'm guaranteed a success if I roll a die. That saves me a... well, wait, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. I need a 2, but I could add that afterwards, I guess. Okay. I get a 2. That's good. That means, though, that I lose 4 of these, because I lose the difference between them. But not higher than X. X was 6. I committed at 6. I didn't have to commit that many. But yeah, I wanted to do this. Okay. But I succeeded. And get these in here. It didn't shake very nicely. This is gone now. These are here. The convoy card is gone, and we draw another card for him. That's something for Parma. Hey, that's kind of cool because we just cleared that out. Division Lunaise. All brigades may exchange cards among them. At the end of these exchanges, each brigade that received cards rolls a die and gets 1 threat if the roll is equal to or less than the number of received cards. I mean, this is a great way to give advantages to various you know, to hand off advantages, whatever. But the cost of getting a threat for it seems a little painful to me. So I don't know if anybody wants to do it. I'll take a look, see if anybody is really interested in it. If I knew enough, this might be valuable. So what I'm going to do is, since I don't like to use this very much, I'm going to look at the next 4 cards and reorder them over with him. 1, 2. This convoy is La Spezia to Parma. That means we've got something big heading up this way. So giving orange a lot of cards would be good. 3. Reggio down to La Spezia. That's going to get close to some other people, but not real close. Oh boy. And 4. Okay, more for La Spezia. La Spezia is already pretty big. 3 points plus a chip. So I think keeping this at the bottom is not a bad idea. I certainly want it after this. So let's put those like that. Reggio to La Spezia. So the problem with this is, when will this happen? So this is the red card happening right now. That means at most 1 card comes up before this path is done. Which means orange is not going to be in a particularly powerful position to attack that. But I think they could. So I am going to do this, let them have their turn. Get a chance of being attacked in between. Do people want to give him cards so he can do it? Quite possibly. Again, this wouldn't happen in the semi-co-op, probably. Probably there wouldn't be that much cooperation because you have absolutely no desire to help other people in the semi-co-op. There's not a... There's not really an overwhelming, oh yeah, we've got to defeat this or we all lose type of feeling in this. At least not by my reading of it, the way there is in some of the other semi-co-op games that I see. I feel like this is just too competitive. The thing that tries to enforce playing nicely with your opponents is the commissioner and you know, some of the, well, you must commit at least 1 card type of thing. So what happens? Well, we have 2 convoys in a row under this case. That's kind of painful. I don't know if people are going to be able to get to this second one here, because that's going to have, these guys have a distance of 3 on it. But let me put more thought in. Commit a card for orange to try to hit this bigger convoy. We're going to ignore that second smaller one. That's 4 cards though. Oh, and all that threat means he's going to get attacked. Oh boy. Alright, that was less than or equal to, so he gets a threat marker. He gets this pile of cards. I may not have done wisely there. And red gets to take his turn. Red's turn, he's got a lot of threat. Not a lot he can do about it. I could move, and that would reduce my threat a little bit. VA and AF. This puts me in range of 2 different things. I think that's kind of advantageous. What's his bonus? His bonus is on committing. I'm going to do a march into here. That means I don't get to do anything other than reduce my threat. Is that what I wanted to do? I don't know. But by giving up a card, I've weakened myself to the point where it doesn't really matter. But putting myself a little closer might have some advantages. That is it for his turn. Now we go to orange. Orange gets this. Why did I play this first? I don't have a good argument for that. Because I wanted... Oh, I didn't read this card. Vinca. Oh, blue is going to have an attack here. Oh, this was dumb of me. Okay. So, I should have probably pulled the convoy first because I actually set him up big enough. I'm thinking about reversing it, but, you know, I make stupid decisions and I gotta live with it. So first we have a search here. And we look for the search rules because we can't remember them. The brigade rolls a die. If it's equal to or less than the partisans, he only has 2 partisans. I get a threat. I'm flipped. And I am attacked. And that sucks. So, I'm attacked by how many? That's partisan attacks. Risk factor is going to be only 1. That's not good. I reveal combat cards equal to threat. That's 4. Yeah, we did not play cleverly here. So 4 says one of these gets us there. And now we're at an 8. And yeah, we fucked up royally. Okay. 8 says I got to come up with that kind of combat capability. Let me look. I'm going to ignore the attack and discard this card. I get no negative effects from the attack. Seems like a good time to use that. Now, a brigade may attack 3 enemy tiles in Vinca. And I gotta find, yeah. There's Vinca. Okay, blue is the one who's facing this most. Definitely, I'd need a distance of 1 movement, which I have there, or here. 3 tiles plus commitment. I think we're gonna do this, because otherwise everybody gets a threat. So I spend to move. I have an attack value of 3, which is almost certainly not going to do it. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 6 off. If I commit 5 of these, I could end up winning. We'll do it. Because I think we're getting knocked off the map anyway. I get 3. So I'm at 3. 6. I'm not big enough to do it. Can anybody help me? That was not a dispatch action that I did. I don't think anybody can help me, so I'm going to get hit. All right. So 3 face 3, that means I'm taking 6 hits. I could drop that to 4 hits and stay on the board. And lose a counter. Or I could come back and still have that counter. We would lose a counter from our thing. I don't know how many we've gained. Yeah, we've gained some values, but there's zeros in there. So I think we're going to take eradication. All of these go in the black pile. Again, we're losing badly. We go to eradication. The brigade moves a tile randomly from the partisan to the Nazi fascist bag. I'll try to reach deeply because there's a good chance that's a 0. I don't know. The brigade has no event cards. We're wiped out and off the board. But the biggie is we get to keep this extra 2.1 use thing. I don't know if that was worth it. Otherwise, we'd be on the board with one dude. Which again, I don't know if that's worth it. Now, this was Orange as a player. Orange wants to build up his attack capabilities here. How does he do that? Well, one thing I definitely want to do is reduce my threat because I'm in trouble. That's a diffuse. I'm not allowed to do much. I'm allowed to disengage and diffuse. That's it. Or march. I do not want to march. I'm good where I am. I have no other disengagements. So we have finished our turn. We go to the next one, which is our convoy from La Spezia to Parma. That's this one. Well, I have a 1-point movement that gets me into battle with it. I'll put the 6 for my attack into play here. 3, 4, 5, we win. What happens for winning? They seem to think we should be getting some threat. Forgot to reduce his threat. Jesus. It's the one thing I'm worst at in this game. Where is threat reduction? This is part of it. It's way over here past the actions. I can't blame it for being there. Okay, he didn't lose any. He got a turn 2. He may have lost some threat. 2. 2 is not higher than the current threat. Oh, the other guy got 6. His was higher. Let's get rid of these. Okay. So he didn't get a threat reduction for whatever that mattered. But is there a threat increase for attacking? It's hard to remember things that are this fucking procedural. No, you don't gain threat for schwacking a convoy, which feels a little weird to me. Anyway, we beat this thing. So we're becoming heroes here. This goes here. We're on the green player. We draw the next convoy, which is the Reggio Emilia to La Spezia convoy. That's this one coming down here. Too far away. Let me look at yellow, make sure he doesn't want to take a shot at it. It's 3 movement against 1 counter, maybe. Maybe not. The thing is, I could do it. I have 2 here, I have another movement here. I'd have about a 3. She has the capability to take a threat on for 2 more combat cards when attacking. So that's not terrible. But the problem is that this is one hell of a good piece. To be able to reserve 4 attack in the background is really, really potent. And I just don't think it's worth hitting this one card. Now we're on the yellow player still, so we flip over another one. La Spezia gets 1. There's a search against her. Okay. I'm going to have to swap batteries in a moment. Lots of partisans. 5 partisans. Search is ineffective. And we go to the Garfungana Offensive. All the brigades attack together. 3 tiles in Garfungana. One of which has to pay for... That's an off-map space. I wish there was an easier way to find the things like... because there's enough provinces that it's hard to find. I gotta cut. There's enough different provinces that it's hard to find. And by the way, if these counters, if the black on the back of them starts smearing off, that's going to be problematic. Now, it's better than white, which my tobacco-laced hands would stain completely. But I'm not seeing any sign of it rubbing off easily, but if you play something a lot, counters do rub and end up clear. So anyway, in terms of finding a place, some of the old games like Avalon Hill's Kingmaker would have a set of letters and numbers going across so you could easily access and figure out where something was. Simply because, certainly for somebody who's not Italian, you know, okay, who's not used to living in Italy and being used to some of these names, it's hard to find some of them. But I got to tell you the truth, I think that this is on the level, the amount of space that's here, this is on the level of, like, you know, some random U.S. state finding by the county names, as I said before, which I think unless... I mean, I can't do that for the counties I've lived in, or for the states I've lived in. You know, I might know the names. I don't know exactly where they are. Okay. All the brigades attack together 3 enemy tiles. Only 1 pays for distance. For this attack, collect all enemy tiles whose total value does not exceed the attack strength. They're shuffled back into the pool. The remaining tiles go into the bag. Is this the weird? No, the weird one's to the forts. Okay. But if we defeat it, we take it on. So, who are we on here? This is on yellow. Who's close to this? Well, red is 2 away. I don't have a 2 movement. Sorry, make it 3 away. Yellow is 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 away. Not going to be able to make it. Orange certainly isn't. Blue is off the map. This all goes in the Nazi fascist bag. It's not a good result. And we're on the yellow player. What can the yellow player do? Well, I have no threat. I like the idea of moving a space, or maybe more. Unfortunately, I don't have any threat yet, which means I think that I have to think about the disengage, which would be this guy, which is an expensive thing to give up, along the lines of those. But I feel like I have to get myself into position of some of these roads. I don't see a place that's just beautiful to be. So maybe doing a... See, I'd like to grow myself at least 1 dude. Yeah. All right. I'll grow myself a dude. But I hate giving up my extra card. Especially since I don't know what's going on. I'll grow myself a dude and boink my threat away. And, oh, that doesn't get me threat reduction. Do I have the threat reduction bonus? No. Well, I can't do the threat reduction and draw a card, so we'll stay there. Okay. That's yellow. And then we go to blue. Convoy, Parma to La Spezia. And this is where I wish I had moved, right? Okay. Orange has basically nothing. I could spend this to get there. Red certainly isn't going to be able to get there. There's 1 person who can get to this who is yellow, and they can only have a 2. Reggio Emilia gets 2. And here, you know, knowing that, like, these are possible to attack, but maybe not all of them, you know, and the cards necessary for them may not come up. Of course, I did have blue in their general area, but I'm just thinking. Okay, this is Falco. Rock me, Amadeus. So this is blue. Move a tile without looking at it from the Nazi fascist to the partisan bag. And then carry out an airdrop on Monte Grosso. But if somebody gets it, they suffer an attack. Okay. First, let's move a tile without looking at it to the partisan bag. Yay. A little bit of randomness there. Yeah, should have done hers. Let's do it now. Carry out an airdrop on Monte Grosso. Where the hell's that? That's right here. So that's an interesting place. I'm going to turn off the camera so that I can do this. And I'll still fucking fail. To throw some English in, it bounced where it is. That would have been, I think, 3 on an airdrop. 3 cards with that big 5 roll. Right, it's a D3. Yeah. Which would be great. But the iffy thing with this is the one that I was least sure I wanted to get, because there's a chance that you get attacked on this. It would still be worth it, right? It's only a 1/3 chance. But of course nothing from the airdrop, because I don't have that kind of dexterity. And we're on the blue player, who has one thing and one thing only he can do. And that thing will be to place himself on the board. Right. Let's look at the actions. No threat there, no threat there, so I don't have to worry about rolling threat reduction. Form brigade. Yeah. So these go back, and we do the end of turn fun, which I guess I just do. Couple of problems. Orange had to play their 2-point counter to survive this, because their cards were either not enough or, wow, that's a pretty good card. Yeah, I don't want to give up my 4-point card. Sure, it's one use, so's the counter. Now the counter has some advantages, the way that I can kind of sneak it in. Big 6. I ended up well over the 6 cards, but now I'm down to 6 cards after paying 3 2s, so I ended up with 9 cards there. And on to the next turn. In the intro video, or the first video for the game, I made an error that I just caught in my head as I was reading the historical notes. I think I said the Gustav line of breaking at the end, to allow the end of the game to proceed where the liberation goes. That obviously was way too far south. This should be the Gothic line. More than a brain fart, you know. Something in my head remembered G, and the Gothic line is not, something I was terribly aware of before this game. But obviously any aficionados of the Italian campaign would understand that I made that error. Anyhow, just felt like I had to come down and make a special point of correcting that. It's a funny thing with me, but whatever, when I do catch something like that, it's not like, oh, it's not like there's this argument, oh, should I cover it up? It's more like, why the fuck is this important for me to say? But it is for me. I don't know why. Just 2 seasons to go. Start off with red. Let me make sure I got this capability. Just don't feel like I've dumped a lot of big counters that I'm aware of into that bag. So, not sure I want to do this one that lets you pull a counter. So, we get a dude for Parma. Creating another little weak set there. We got to search for red. All right, and as always, I can remember having to deal with this kind of, hey, look things up with things like Vietnam, but eventually the process seals in better. But there's so many different procedural systems in this. This is something. There aren't a lot of games that I feel like I have to look up every time. Just how do I do that each time? But each time there's this procedural thing that I just have to follow and have to find it in the rules every time. There's also no other play aid to give that. I'm not griping really about that. I don't, you'd have to repeat a lot of the rules on the play aid when you can just flip through them. But to me, it reminds me of things like Axis Empires, where I had to constantly look up, well, how do I do that again? So here, let's see, the search. The search, I kind of remember. First thing is, I roll to see if I'm under the number of partisans. I am. That means a threat. Let me just look it up, make sure I'm right. But I'm getting used to it, You do it enough times, and it's not that big a game, and that's probably part of why it's not becoming... Okay, this is less than the threat, so they were found. That means they're going to get attacked. And now, unfortunately, we don't go here, but we go here. Wish it was on the same page. That I do have a little bit of a grump about. Because there's no reason, well, events leads to partisan attacks, but the Nazi fascist attacks come into play off the search as well as off of events. So I would have put them immediately after events. Risk factor is distance. Distance is 3. Number of threat. That's 3. So there's a fair chance I get out of this. Nope. Okay, so I'm being attacked with a strength of 3 on the red player. He can commit more cheaply. I'll just cancel it out. It wouldn't have been unreasonable for me to play this and make a roll on a 4. I'd be completely safe, but I don't want to take casualties, I guess. Okay, now we take a look at this. Bardine. Somebody mentioned what this font is about. It's trying to look like a bad typewriter, basically. One where the ribbon's starting to die and the ink gets smeared on it. And yeah. A brigade may attack 2 enemy tiles in San Terenzo. Okay, we play the game of draw a couple of tiles. Try to find San Terenzo now. That's here. Oops. If no brigade attacks, the brigade closest loses a partisan. Okay, so this is distance 2 for yellow, 2 for blue, 2 for red, 2 for orange. All right, red's pretty beaten up. Orange can't reach. Yellow can reach. I have a lot of capability there. Blue could reach but can't attack. So yellow's the only one who could do this attack. I could spend this. That's worth 4. That's cheaper than anything else I could do. Well, what do I want to do here? I don't know. I want to kill. So that's probably about a 5. Which means I think I spend this for my movement. I hate doing that, but we're low on chits. And do we want to spend a lot of chits? We don't have any threat. Oh, I could pick up a threat for 2 cards. Okay. Let's do that. I think we had to move first. I'm not sure. Now, I don't have to stay within hand limit until end of season. Okay. We'll spend this for 4. I can always commit more if I want. But let's throw this. Bring it to 7. It's expensive, but it's okay. We flip these over, see what we're facing. We're facing a 7. I need another point. Okay. Guess I got to commit. How many do I want to commit? I will commit 5. I get a 3. That means I hit for 3. It does mean I lose 2 of these, but we get some good points in the bag. We did the search. We did that. It's Red's turn. Red's got a lot of threat. I could reduce that by 1, or I could move. Now, we're down to the second to last season. I need to build this thing up, so being there doesn't seem like a terrible idea. I am going to... I'm going to reduce my threat, but I'm going to increase the army size as well. Which may or may not be wise. I'm not clever at this at all. These are gone. Puts me to orange. La Spezia gets 1. Allied bombing. Remove 2 partisans adjacent to Ayula. Now, this was actually called out in the designer's notes. What's happening here is it's not that the partisans are getting accidentally bombed, but it's more that, like, they're being disrupted by these effects happening. So that's of interest there. Now, Ayula's here. Remove 2 partisans adjacent to Ayula. That's this. There goes the rest of orange. This wouldn't kill them because it's not an attack. The brigade is going to stay no matter what. One thing one argument that I would say that applies to this is that it's not just a disruption of communications and capabilities and whatnot, but also the bombing may actually have a morale effect that makes it harder for the partisans to attract more forces as well. That wasn't spelled out in there. Reveal 2 enemy tiles. What do we want to reveal? We know nothing in terms of, hey, which ones are more likely to show up, which are not. We don't know where the convoys are going to be. This is Orange's call, but we're quite far from things. We're going to reveal these 2. That's a 0 and a 4. And then we do an airdrop on our space. Our space is right here. We don't have any partisans to play there, but we can do the drop. I will do this off board so I have my hands. It's funny, when I was playing before, sitting on the floor, different physical situation slightly, maybe a different, less hard wood. I have pine upstairs. I don't know what this is, but it feels a little harder to me. I don't know. I was getting different bounces that like felt better. We're coming out. Here I've been unable to succeed with any of my drops. Now, there are ways to configure this. You can choose a different height or whatever. The only thing this is used for is for these airdrops. So why does it have so many values? Would you really be dropping from 10 meters? I don't know. Well, I clearly missed Ayula. One of the things is the question, and this is not expressed in the rules, of whether I can leave this thing there for the drop. I feel like that's too much cheating, but I don't know. And I may have done that more the other time. Here we have a tiny bit hitting red. That means that red gets 2 material on their drop. Now let me make sure there's nothing else on airdrops. I missed my target completely. Oh. even partially. But if two players end up... Yeah. Okay. And now that puts us to orange, who is not in great shape. We could recon. We don't need partisans to do that. I think we're one away from here. What do we get for a recon? We get to look at the top 3 cards and place them in addition to flipping the cards. I feel like this is a valuable thing. I am using up some of my capability here. Mainly capability to reduce threat. So I'll recon these. I get those 2, so now I know their strength. I get to look at the top 3 cards and reorder them. Okay, let's think about this. A brigade that attacks 3 enemy tiles in Santa Ana de Stazema. I don't know. That's way down here. If no brigade attacks, everybody gets a threat. Well, that sucks. Brigade may attack 2 in Carrara. It's looking like we want to get something big down there. If no brigade attacks, the brigade closest loses a partisan. It's probably him. This event is not resolved if the card Carrara's free zone is in. This is the holding box for that. I need a discard pile. Okay. And the last one is Nasai. The brigade closest to Carrara gains 2 combat cards. Okay. I'm going to reorder this there. That'll give yellow a chance to move into position, and I'll shift these. This may not be optimal, but nothing ever is. Okay, so that's my recon and my special effect from Laura. Now, I definitely want to create one of these. That gets me a threat. I'm going to blow this to get rid of 3 threat. Forgot to do him. All right, threat reduction. What's threat reduction? Higher than the current threat. Nope. Okay. Hey, always forgetting that action. Got rid of my threat. I am going... I get +2 to reduce threat. So I'm going to put these here. That means I will automatically get rid of at least 1 threat. Take another one on. Is that enough? Yeah. Okay. +2 for threat reduction at this point. That's an 8. That cleans up my threat. But I have no cards. All right, so I should have set things up right here, right? I don't know. Eula gets 1. Then Isai, the brigade closest to Carrara gains 2 combat cards. That's yellow. And now, carry out an airdrop on Fosadino. Where's that? Fosa de Novo. Let's try to pronounce it right. I don't know. I don't look long enough to be able to see the pronunciation. This is what the game's all about. Searching the provinces to see what you are. Alright, we failed a complete search. We try again. And yeah, you know, I mean, some of you probably have already... Ah! Awesome. Okay, well... I'm going to do it kind of like that. I'll get in there in a moment. A success. Didn't get the 6 I was trying to drop. Again, it's bouncing a little different than it did on the other surface. and that I think is part of the issue. I had a softer surface underneath. And the rules do state, hey, you know, that's why you would configure the height differently. But I don't know, you know, what kind of surface should you have? If you're playing on a bed, it's going to be very, very different than if you're playing on a slab of rock or something along those lines. So that's this card. And now yellow has things they want to do, because I know that I've got things for, geez, let me look at the two. Okay, for Santa Anna de Stasna and for Carrara. They both hit here. So if I do a march functionality, I can just get there. On the other hand, this isn't too bad. So this is distance 1, this is distance 2. Let's look at my cards. I have a fair amount of movement. I do not have, my footprints though are going to eat up one of my movement unless I use that one. If I do march, I can move 2 spaces. I could kill partisans for marching too. And get something back. And that'll give me, I'll still have a handful of cards. I don't know that I really need more partisans at this point. I have a whole bunch of cards. On the other hand, I could do the disengage and just move 1 space. That wouldn't get me as far. So I think I'm going to play this to move everybody down to here, because I got lucky and know what's going on. That gets rid of a threat, but that is all I can do because I don't have, I'm not the person with the far-sighted, which is quite potent, but he doesn't have the power to get in there. All right, and that means we're done there. Threat reduction I don't have to worry about. Next one. Okay. La Spezia gets 2. And now there's an interesting thing, because blue is getting this one. This is the first shot that's hitting Carrara. I actually get the recovery, the between seasons recovery. So I'm going to have to make sure to use a decent amount of cards up. But first La Spezia gets 2. Then I get attacked, which probably isn't too dangerous, because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. So I'm searched for. I have a 4. I think that's the thing I look for. 3. That means I get hit just with 1 threat. 3 is not under 1, so I'm not actually attacked, but I was discovered. Doesn't matter, because I'll be turned back up, right? Nope, I am discovered. That's problematic. That's going to reduce my actions next time. This guy is not discovered. Keeping that discovery by this card is troublesome in my mind. I wish it was this counter, but they look the same on both sides. Wait, I was not discovered. Right? No, because if I was discovered, if I was exposed, I would be attacked. I was not attacked. I was not exposed. Okay, good enough. Now I may attack 2 enemy tiles in Carrara. Which I shall do. Oh wait. Yellow has gone already. This is blue's turn. Okay. I will definitely make that attack. I have very little to bonus me, but I can take a threat to add 2 cards from the deck. Let's look. I'm far away from the last turn of the game stuff. So I may want to keep some footprints. 2 cards, let's say it averages at about 5. Not going to have that. I think I'm going to want to take a threat and draw 2 more cards, because I have that capability. Okay. Well, here's 2 footprints that I could hold that don't hurt me much, but again, I probably want to burn through some cards. So I'm going to get a whole bunch. 2, 4, 6. Let's make damn sure. All right. That gets me a hit of 8. That should... There's a 5, so I'm successful. Yes, I overexpended. All right. Now we're on the blue player. Now the blue player is not far from one of these. I do not have a lot of build here. There's not much I could do. I could footprint to march there. And I could do that in addition to something else. But I get more production from here. What else do I have? I have a bullet reduction, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to drop 3 of these for 3 threat. I make it 2, and I drop that. And now it's time to play with seasonal cards. Of course, I forgot my threat reduction. A 2, that doesn't help me. We enter the last season of the game. Yellow almost reached their limit, but I feel like we've got a decent number of cards to get ourselves into position, maybe to make the attacks on some of these key locations. We'll see how that works out. Now there are, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4 key locations that are attackable at the end of the game. And I have 4 brigades. In order to get in the right position for them, we're going to have to move, but we got to deal with what these last cards are. But again, you know, having played it already once, I have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. This bag is much larger than this bag, but the end of the game is a potentially large pile of pieces. Notably, these guys get to move, and that they come on. So if they're not hit through actions in the game, they become available for attacks. I also have the points here that yellow is going to be able to hit. This is probably the most difficult, as yellow is going to probably want to move over to Sarzana. That is 2 away. That's going to be a difficult calculation across the board. And also, red is closest to Fivizzano, but they want to be up here at Pontremoli. I want to have each city covered by one brigade. If you're playing with less than 4 brigades, you got more complicated problems at this point. I don't really know how that would play out. If you're playing with more than 4, well, some of your brigades aren't as strong as they are in 4. So there's sort of this, 4 is sort of the magic number for this game in terms of like making it easiest to do the calculations in your head as to what's going to work, what's not. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, just because it's a little harder to figure out the balances that you'd be bringing to bear, I don't think that makes it any better or worse of a game. Let's see if walking away from a game is so dangerous, but it's just how I must live my life. Let's see if I remember enough to be able to do the plans that I had in mind. I mean, this is where it really breaks down. Is yeah, I had these ideas. Now I know he's going to Pontremoli. He's in good position. He wants to get, well, she wants to get down here to be near Sarazana, and he's in charge of this. Covered all four. That should work. Okay. But I don't know what I'm facing, and I don't have another, hey, steal a card thing, or steal a reshaping of the thing. I was good at using them this time. Reggio gets one. As that gets bigger and bigger. We may want to, as we look at the size of what's going to happen, we may want to end up taking, although I hate doing this, the dispatch action from someone if they have a lot of cards like this one does, to be able to ensure, because there's not going to be a lot of counters here, to be able to ensure that the other brigades have points. That's something you would, again, not do in the semi-co-op, because you're not looking, you know, it makes sense in this game, but you're not looking at what you're looking at in the other semi-co-ops that I'm used to, which is, oh, hey, how do we keep from losing, you know, overall? Here, no matter what, the Allies are going to win the war. The question is, well, how much power do the partisans of this area get in the final government, whatever? And that might be something that, you know, is more competitive. Okay. So I drew that. Red is going to be searched for. Back to the search rules. So first, I'm remembering now 3 partisans. I'm not bothered by the number of partisans, which means I'm not bothered by my threat. So nothing happens from the search. A brigade may attack 3 tiles in Santa Anna di Sistema. Now, this was one that we were aware of. And we're going to do it because we're powered up. So it'll only take us 1 move to get there. I got a response on the loss of control rule. I still don't get it because when I looked at the example, the only way I could count that example was if the movement cost between things that are adjacent on a road, and that includes something like this where maybe they're not really adjacent, is 0 instead of 1, because the road, well, first of all, the road doesn't count normally, I think, and secondly, the amount of distance that they were covering was just, it couldn't be judged at ones at any cost. Like, the cost between province to province had to be 0 in some cases, because we're talking about almost no footprints expended. But anyway, one of the things that I did count, which was the or part, whether or not the cities, you had to be adjacent to a city and the road, that was clarified, but I think I had that already accounted for. Okay, so 3 tiles there. If no brigade attacks, every brigade gets a threat. So yellow has to do this attack. They're the only ones there. And we're looking at something over 6, probably 7 or 8 points there. I have a lot of points. Unfortunately, all of my cards that can get me the movement there are big. Okay. Well, that'll be our move. And what was I saying? Somewhere around 7, I was saying. I hate to use... I can't afford to use up all these cards. I need this to move me to here. I do get a recovery afterwards, so actually I can use a lot of these cards. All right, we're going to try to make sure, because 3 things is important. So I've got 9 hitting this. I hit 7, that's easy. Oh, I could have done this. Let me draw. Oh yeah, it's too late. Ah, jeez. I want the 2 extra cards. I'm going to spend the same way, more or less, but I'm going to take a threat and take those 2 extra cards and see, did I get anything that I would rather? I would rather do that. But that gives me the 9 cost, which is important. So I get all of these. Her ability is just too good. Those times that I get to attack, I want those extra cards. That's too cheap. 2 cards for 1 threat is fantastic. Now we're on the orange player, who gets to build up. I'm in position. I have a fair-sized hand. It's conceivable. So he would have to move 1. So I ought to be... oh, I am red. Sorry, the red player. So I have to move somewhere. And what I want to move is closer to Pontremoli. I could use one of my 2 footprint cards. I have a lot of threat. My special ability... Alright, there's not going to be a whole lot there. Which means I can afford a normal move. So I can do... because I don't like the amount of threat that I have. I can do a diffuse, but I can also do a disengage. Disengage costs me 2 movement points, though. Or I could march. If I march, I go 2 spaces one way or another, let's say to here, and then I have movement to get there. I have a strong card. I have a lot of points here. I get rid of 1 threat. I get a bonus on committing. I think I'm better off I want to keep this for movement, Jesus. How much threat do I need to reduce? So I want to build up my brigade as well. All right. I move to here using disengage. That gets rid of a threat. I get rid of 2 more threat. But I drop 2 more brigades, picking up that threat, giving me a fair chance at threat reduction. Which I don't get. Pity. Okay. Next player. Ayula gets 1. Alright, that's beginning to build up into something, but orange has a big pile. At least of partisans. To the forts! Each brigade, starting with the active one and proceeding clockwise, attacks separately 2 enemy tiles without paying for the distance. For each of these attacks, all tiles whose total value does not exceed the attack strength go into the partisan bag. The most valuable among the remaining tiles goes into the Nazi fascist bag. All other tiles are shuffled back face down into the pool. Okay. Attack separately too. For each of these attacks, all tiles whose total value does not exceed the attack strength go to the partisan bag. So if you win the battle, it goes to the partisans. The most valuable among the remaining tiles goes into the Nazi fascist bag. Now, this I don't think sounds like the example. This is not the 2 to the 4th example. Oh no, it wouldn't be. Okay, here's the 2 to the 4th. A brigade with an attack strength 4. 2 enemy tiles are revealed to be a 3 and a 2. The 3 goes into the partisan bag and the 2 goes into the Nazi fascist. Another brigade plays strength of 2 versus a 3 and a 5. The 5 goes into Nazi fascist. The 3 goes back into the pool. This example is different from what I'm seeing here. For each of these attacks, all tiles, okay, whose total value does not exceed the attack strength go into the partisan bag. Yeah, so this is not worded correctly to express the example. I think the example is what's desirable here. So what this is saying, all tile whose total value does not exceed the attack strength. So, I mean, I guess you're collecting up as many tiles as the attacker could kill, as the partisans could kill. They go into the partisan bag. Out of whatever's left, any single tile, the best one, goes into the Nazi fascist. The rest go back into the pool. Now, there's an issue here with too many tiles being drawn. I'm trying to remember where that is. If they run out, resolve all game effects to the maximum possible with the available tiles. Once the pool is empty, ignore any effect that would bring more. Okay. Because we don't have a whole lot here, but we have a fair amount. This is the card that is supposed to potentially cause this. Okay, we are on the orange player here. I did put that there. He's got 2. He does not have to pay for distance. I've got an attack value of 4. I could up that to 5. I'm going to play both. I don't really need to be able to move. We'll see what happens. Okay. Now let's see how this is worded. For each of the attacks, all tiles whose total does not exceed the attack strength. 4 does not exceed that attack strength, so all the tiles go in here. The wording of the card is a little ambiguous, is the problem, and the only way to understand it correctly to me is to read the example. Okay, that's one player. Now we go to yellow. And I had an extra point that I could have thrown into play. Yellow is facing 2. I have a powerful hand. I am attacking. I will take a threat and take 2 more cards, because I only have to face 1 more dangerous card, right? Before I get to reduce my threat. And I look at what I've got. I got a lot of stuff. I'm going to need to move next turn. If I do a straight march, that can get me to there, which is not a bad place to be. It's a rich area. I can get to there off of just 2. I can spend some threat reduction to fix things. So what do I want to do here? Six, and I can commit partisans if I need to. 6 sounds pretty good. 8! Okay. This is a normal attack or not? This is a good question. Okay. There's nothing in here that says commitment in the example, but there's nothing in here that says you can't commit. So I don't know whether I kill the 5 and this goes into the Nazi fascist, or if I'm allowed to roll for commitment. I'm going to allow myself to roll for commitment and throw 4 partisans in. I get a 2. That adds 2 to my total, so that's 6, 8. That gets me total success. This card may not be in the deck, I think. But 4 minus 2 is 2. That gets me to the third player in the line. Blue has 2 facing him, and we've got to go back to red. I am not very strong, but I can get that up to 5, and I can throw that in. I'm going to throw the full 3 into play. I'm not thrilled with this, but okay, because I need to move or something. 3 is not good, but that would defeat this. That would give me a 4 in the Nazi fascist bag. I live with that, rather than try to beat it between both of those. Because a 3, yeah. So I will give them 1 tile. So here's the thing, you're only facing 2 tiles at a time. The most that can go in is 1, but that means the most that goes back into this draw bag is also 1. I've got 2 in here. I do not. I'm only facing 1 tile now. Well, that changes things, doesn't it? It's a cheap attack. I've got a 3 there. I am going to play this. I do not beat it. I expend this. I get plus or minus 2 to committing. We want to commit. We need at least a 2 to tie him and get the victory there. I'm going to commit 3. That plus or minus 2 to the die roll should make it pretty easy to get close to 3. I get a 2. I raise that to 3 so that I don't lose anything, and I get this. And that's pretty good. And that saves me my points. This was the orange player getting to take their turn now. I got no cards. However, do I really, is there anything I really want to do? I could like draw for cards here. Or I could draw for partisans, or both. I am going, I don't know. They're about equal, right? Because I have to feed my partisans. So I think drawing for cards is more valuable, but I won't be able to reduce the threat with those cards. So I'm going to grab 2 cards, see what that looks like. That's pretty good, but it's not getting me the movement that I need to get into there. And we're almost at the end. Remember, 6 threat is something to keep in mind, so I'll draw another card. That gets me a footprint, but that doesn't get me the attack move. I really like to guarantee that I get that attack move. I don't have another way to do it. I'll keep drawing. This is going to be a big stack anyway. God damn. All right. I'm calling these 5s. I draw again. There I get a footprint. That doesn't help, but I get one of these. That guarantees that I'll be able to make it. I sit there, I've got 5 threat on me. That makes threat reduction really unlikely. Okay. Next player. Yellow needs to get into there, basically. Vivizano is supposed to get a tile, but there's no tiles left. And the way the example says, I don't have to worry about them anymore. Which makes life easier for blue, who's going to be in charge of that. I got a search on yellow. Luckily for the fascists, a search doesn't require any tokens. He only has 2. I roll a 3. That's not below 2, but it is below my threat, which means I'm going to be attacked. What am I attacked with? I am exposed, which is going to suck because it does allow me to march. Okay, that's the important piece. March or, I don't know about, not diffuse, disengage. March or disengage are the two that I need. Okay. Let's keep looking. Now I will suffer an attack. My attack is not a partisan attack. I have to go to the other page. My risk factor is huge. It's a 4. Wow. Wow, that is huge. It would be a 5 if a certain effect was in play, but it's not. It's that free zone, the Karada free zone or whatever. So how many cards do I get? I get the threat. That's 4 cards. 4 cards, it's enough to get them there with strength 0. That's not going to happen. Okay. This is the yellow player. Lose 2 combat cards. This is at random. I'm not allowed to choose them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I might have had some kind of order on there. There's 1 that I lose. And then the other one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 is this one. Not using the special rules on this. But I gain a partisan. And now, yellow, I need to move here. This is not going to be that big. The only way I can do this is with a march event, which means I cannot do anything else, but I lose a threat. Okay, time to count my threat. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Uh-oh. Well, I can take on a pile more threat. Oh, threat reduction. Two. That means I lose a threat. All right. Now I'm at the point where any threat that I take on, if I take on a single threat, I might as well take on 6. Well, I can't. But I might as well take on my 4 maximal and strengthen myself as much as possible. That was yellow. No chits. Search for him. His range is 3, but that's not what we're worried about right now. We're worried about the amount of partisans there. It's 3. No extra is not discovered. We were allowed to do what we did. We flip over. Winter of 45. Lose 2 combat cards. Has none. Beautiful. Carry out an airdrop on your space. Okay. Well, we'll try that. Now, not only did I fall into the sea, but I shot this thing all the way over to hell in creation. All right, well, that didn't work. I'm no good at these airdrops. You know, the difference in the bottom, in the underlying material, I did not think it would have this much difference. It may not be the only thing. It may also be the angle that I'm sitting. You know, I tried to at least get rid of having this stupid camera in my hand while I do it, but that's not really enough. Okay, what do I need? Well, I'm going to get a fair amount of stuff, but I'm facing probably a 7 or so there. And the final is not to the forts. Let's take a look at how liberation works. Each brigade can attack stacks. These are normal, and they're actually more powerful than normal, which to me means I don't know what it means. See, I'm not going to get a chance to move here, but that's not that big a deal. I would get the capability to use 2 arrows to get me to the location, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really not sure. All right, let's take a card. That gives me 1 threat reduction, and I could do a march, which is pretty decent. He's the one who can do this. Let's keep drawing. See what more we can learn. That'll get me into the battle if need be. That would as well. The only thing I'm not allowed to do is these because I've bought cards. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll draw another one. They don't hurt me in the battle. Like, they don't make me at risk at this point. All right. That's my set of cards. I am going to march. This is the guy who can do this. That gets rid of that. And I will draw yet another card. Okay. That puts him to 6. So I'm at 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, which is going to cost me 2 something. I don't know what. It's over here. A random enemy tile is moved from the partisan to the Nazi fascist pile. Okay. Right then. So now we finish the season. Could roll for risk reduction. I can't get it here because I raised my risk up to 5. So, or up to 6. So there's absolutely no chance, right? I gotta find that threat reduction. The die is higher, the difference would be there. So yeah, that's just not gonna work because I boosted it all the way up. It's a reason not to do that. Okay, so yeah, I draw my cards and pay my winter. I spent one of my 1-point cards over from this guy, one of his tiles, because I liked the cards better. And it just worked out better. Orange here had a rich hand of cards, too rich, had to actually throw one away. 1 point for spoilage. Okay, that puts us on the final step of the game. The enemy tiles on Parma are moved to Pontremoli. Not much there. Might end up actually ignoring that and attacking this because I'm a little worried about how good orange is going to be. The enemy tiles on Reggio Emilia are moved to Fivizzano. That could be, yeah, so-so. La Spezia are split evenly between Eula and Sarazna. If the Sarzana. If the number of tiles on La Spezia is odd, Eula gets 1 tile more. The brigades get to distribute them as they wish. Now, what do I have here? Well, yellow feels a little weak. Orange actually is pretty powerful. So I'm not going to really need to get down there. I'm going to give this to orange, or to yellow, and this to there, and I'll put these here, although this is a rather large stack, so I don't know. All right. Each brigade may attack 1 or more of the stacks. The stack has to be able to reach that location, and the tiles are going to have an extra D3 in strength for each. The big thing I'm going to be considering, everybody's going to attack what they're next to, is whether or not red can afford to either make 2 attacks or whether they want to throw in entirely against this or against this. Same distance either way. Attacking this single tile, which might be worth 0, is not really worth it. So I am going to ignore that one and throw all my weight against both of these. Don't know if that's wise or not, but I'm worried that orange doesn't have enough to take this out. So we do these in order. Sarzana, that's down here. Sorry, yeah. We will be attacking with everything we have. So I believe we need 1 to get there. Oh, we don't have much. Plus 3. No exchange there. Yeah, I take a threat and get 2 more cards. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, that's why this one's good. All right, so I've got a total of 10 going in here. And what do they have? They have 2 plus a D3, which would be 2, 4. This is a successful attack. Great. All right. The next one, Ayula. That's not where I would have gone. I would have done them in the order. Okay. So orange has to spend 1 move to get there. That'll be this. And red has to spend 2, which will be this and this to get there. And we reveal the big pile of tiles, which is going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, plus a half a die. 13, 10, 14. We're successful. All of these are ours. Like I said, there's big points to be gotten here. I'm going to ignore that other one, and I don't think I get to see the tile, so I'll wait till that's... I'll just put that one there. I did not... I didn't really get to see it. Okay, over here blue needs 1 to get there. Sure. Okay, and I've got 6, 9, 13. Might not be easy. Oh yeah, there was a 0 on there, I forgot that. 7, maximum is 10, so I win this. I play this to allow me to steal a tile. Why did I do it so far? That gives me 3 threat. Is that worth it? 3 threat might be a tile anyway. Let's see. Maybe I don't want to do it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's going to shift a tile in both directions. I don't want to do that. Screw it. So I will not expend that. Had I done it at an earlier time, I could have accounted for it better. I forgot that it comes with a cost. Okay. Like I said, we're at like 15 threat, which means 2 tiles. Let me shake. I'm just moving 2 tiles over there, and then I'm going to spread them out and count them. Quickly looking at this, it seems pretty obvious. The red side is over here. I believe I have 1, but it's all these 4s and 3s kind of make it pretty clear. Plus, I captured more in total. There's nothing left on the board, so... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, let's do it this way. 11, 15, 18, 20, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, to 10, 22, 30, 39, 48, 50, 58, 60, 65. So I won fairly handily. This is about how much I lost by the last time, but 2 major factors got into play on the last time. One is I forgot threat reduction entirely. I'm pretty good at forgetting it in this one. The other factor that came into play is, of course, just kind of knowing what stuff's going to happen. Now, you have a capability, like I said, to fiddle around with how hard this is going to be. So, you know, I didn't get what I think is great luck here. All the airdrops failed, whether that's luck or not. Some of these very much help the players. The gunpowder factories are particularly in case loss of control appears to do that. Yeah. Going to semi-co-op is going to make things harder, but otherwise, the way you would do things is choose more of the sort of bad cards out of the sequence. I kind of like the mix of cards that the base game gives you, though. You might also want to fiddle around with the number of brigades that there are. 6 brigades, probably. Anything other than 4 is probably a more difficult game, I just think. Although the fact that, like, I ignored one of the 4 cities at the end may be, you know, indicative that that's not that big an issue. But yeah, I mean, I would not, even with the threat reduction issue, I would not have been able to do anywhere near this well the first time I played. There was too much of the, how's this all going to play out? What am I trying to do type of question in it. I'm a little surprised. I thought I was doing worse than I was. And I do feel like maybe once you do get a play or two under your belt, it becomes pretty easy, and you will need to do something to ramp up the difficulty levels a little bit. And that may just be playing the co-op game, because, or the semi-co-op game, because it's really not semi-co-op anymore. It is a competitive game where you're all kind of competing for the same point pool, honestly. And there's very little reason to help anyone in the semi-co-op. The shame of that is some of these abilities are baked in, having to do with that semi-co-op side of things, or with the full co-op side of things. It's like, yeah, you know, if we don't have to worry about what our total score is, well then, how much does it really matter? You know, I don't really want to help someone. I want to watch everyone else go down in flames, and I want to get lucky. You know, I want to have my proportion of the points. Now, let me look again at the semi-co-op victory conditions, how that works. The brigade with the highest total value in its victory pile wins the game, but only if it also beats the total. Okay, so here's the thing. There is a reason to help other people, because what's in here is divided by the number of brigades in play. So if everyone else is doing poorly, too many chits end up in here. So it is more than just pure competition. You do want to make sure that other people are carrying some of the weight. You don't want to be taking it all on yourself, because then you'd be facing, say, this entire, you know, given that things are lucky, you don't want to be facing a bag that's much bigger than this, with whatever proportion you can get, unless you're just cleaning up and, you know, able to basically take nearly half the points from the game. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to get away with that unless they get tremendously lucky. Orange had a lot of power. This is getting more to the wrap side of things. They had 3 of these cards, if I recall correctly. Those help a little bit. But then towards the end, yellow became more and more potent. I really like her ability. Take a threat and get 2 cards for attacks. If you can manage to get attacks off. You're not always capable of it. You know, like, we saw some of the other players were too stymied to get attacks off, and I saw her in my first game was not in a good position to use to get attacks. She was too busy trying to protect herself. We saw this come into a little bit of use. I don't consider it very powerful, but that's why he has so many chips. The reduced threat rolls, and for that matter the search, this is a nice ability. And again, doesn't have as much in terms of capabilities in the cards. What about this one? The plus or minus 2 to the roll when committing. And lose nothing for eradication. So lose nothing for eradication, well, you really don't want to get eradicated. If you do, it's probably going to put you in a bad place, but maybe you're taking a bullet for other people that's worthwhile. I wouldn't want it to happen in the semi-co-op, though, I'll tell you. But the plus or minus 2 to the roll when committing, like her ability, really helps you when you're attacking. What about the 2 that we didn't look at? Just to give you, let's talk about this one first. Resourcefulness, +1 combat card every end of season. This is like living in a rich zone every time. There's something really, really nice about that. She also has a fair pile of things, but one of them is, actually 2 of them I think include the dispatch rider on them. If you look at, that's these 2, which means you can give a card to someone else, but not at the end of the season. Medication, you can fail to lose a partisan. Now that's instead of a so the dispatch rider, you always have something else you can do instead of it. Provisions, you don't have to pay sustenance, and given that you're getting extra cards anyway, that may not be that big a deal. This warning, you're able to get rid of a threat or carry out a march with this, and that I think is at any time. I'm not sure. Hers, instead of sustenance, roll a d6 and pay the roll if it's less than or equal to partisans. Well, that makes her very, very weird. She's like the one brigade that does, but she has a doggy. She's my favorite of the characters in terms of like the appearance. There's just something so, I don't know. Charming. They're all charming, but that one particularly. But yeah, this forms for a very different type of play because you want to keep your level of partisans lesser so that you never have to pay sustenance costs. Of course, if you don't have to pay sustenance, you don't need to get as big a draw. Other abilities here, dispatch rider again, medication. Let's just see what these work out as because they're very similar to the other one. What the hell is this? That's dispatch rider and something else. Look at one enemy tile or next event card. I guess that's tile, that's event card. That's that. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's part of the warning. Yeah. So other than the peek at a couple of things, she's very, very similar to this one. I would prefer this, but I think in part because the white character or brigade is going to have a very different style of play. So I'm kind of like, I can't really imagine how that would work out. I kind of felt like it was a shame that I didn't draw her, but I wanted to randomize every time. And all right, we'll be back with a review.